Okay, class 12. This is one of the most important videos that I'm making for you all. Okay, because in this video we are going to deal with Kirchoff's laws. All right. At the end of the previous video itself, I had told you that we are going to do something called Kirchoff's laws, which is very, very important for you all. Remember. Okay. So there are two laws given by Kirchoff. Okay. Some people prefer to call him Kirchoff. Okay, but nothing to do with the pronunciation. So Kirchoff's laws. First of all, it's called first law is called the Kirchoff current law. Okay, or simply the current law, KCL, denoted by KCL. Okay, let me read out the statement for you all. It says the algebraic sum of the currents meeting at a junction is 0. Okay, so let me show you an example. So this is the junction over here, this point. Okay, and we have 3 arms. Okay, from 3, we have 5 arms over here. Okay, out of these 5 arms, from these 3, 1, 2 and 3, we have current flowing into the junction. We see current flowing towards the junction. Okay, that is I1, I5 and I4. We see these currents are flowing to the junction, whereas I2 and I3 are flowing away from the junction. Okay, now you need to remember one thing. What I have assumed over here is I have taken current flowing into the junction to be positive. Current flowing into the junction, if I take current flowing into the junction to be positive, then current flowing out of the junction should be taken to be negative. Okay, so we are going to stick to this convention. Of course, if someone doesn't like it, okay, then you can take current flowing into the junction to be negative. Okay, whereas in that case current flowing out of the junction will be positive. So you can choose whatever convention you want. Okay, but in here I have taken current flowing into the junction to be positive and current flowing out of the junction to be negative, in which case what I'm getting is, since I1 is flowing into the junction, so I1 is positive, I2 is flowing away from the junction, so I2 is negative, so minus I2, I3 is flowing away from the junction or out of the junction, so minus I3, I4 and I5 flowing into the junction, so therefore I have taken both of these two to be positive. So what Kirchoff's current law tells us is the algebraic sum of the currents, okay, which happens to be this, therefore is equal to 0. All right, now if you take current flowing into the junction to be negative and current flowing out of the junction to be positive, in that case also you land up exactly at the very same equation. You can try doing that. Okay, so from this equation what we can write is I1 plus I4 plus I5 is equal to I2 plus I3. That is what we understand. What we can conclude from this equation is that whatever total amount of current is flowing into the junction, whatever amount of current is flowing into the junction, okay, the same amount of current is leaving the junction. I2 plus I3 is equal to I2 plus I3, that is the current flowing away from the junction, is equal to the current flowing into the junction. Okay, so to say, we do not have any extra amount of excess amount of more than this. Okay, we do not have a value of current which is more than this flowing out of the junction. Whatever current was flowing into the junction, the same amount of current is flowing away from the junction. So to say, there is no source or sink of current at this particular point. Okay, we do not have any excess current flowing out of the junction, or we also don't have any loss in current. Okay, whatever current was flowing into the junction, the exact same amount is flowing away from the junction. So to say, there is no loss of current. Okay, a lesser amount of current is not flowing away from the junction. Okay, that is why I've written this statement. There is no source or sink of current. That is, whatever current enters the junction, the same amount of current leaves the junction. All right. Okay, therefore, because of this reason, Kirchoff's current law is another statement for conservation of charge. Okay, whatever current flows into the junction, meaning basically charges are flowing into the junction and charges are leaving the junction. So therefore, whatever charge is flowing into the junction, the same amount of charge is leaving the junction. All right, therefore, this Kirchoff's current law is also called another statement for conservation of charge. Okay, so to say, sometimes you get a question like Kirchoff's current law is based on which conservation principle or conservation law. Okay, in that case you have to say Kirchoff's current law is based on conservation of charge. All right, so understand this very carefully. Whatever current flows into the junction, the same amount of current has to leave the junction, and the statement is like the algebraic sum of the currents meeting at the junction is 0, because of which we get this. But don't forget the convention. Remember, if you take current flowing into the junction to be positive, which we have done over here, the current flowing out of the junction will be taken to be negative. Okay, then comes the second law. This is even more important, okay, than the first law. All right, so this is Kirchoff's voltage law, also called KVL, and this is another statement, as I've written over here, another statement for conservation of energy. So this is based on the conservation of energy. So it says the algebraic sum of the potential difference. Okay, potential difference. Potential is basically work done, remember. Okay, work done to bring a unit charge from infinity to that particular point. Don't forget. Okay, that is what potential is. So potential difference also basically is work done. So work done and energy are the same, remember. Okay, so that is why I'm telling you this is also another statement for conservation of energy. So algebraic sum of the potential difference around a closed loop is 0. So potential difference is the same as energy or work done, remember. So the algebraic sum of the potential difference around a closed loop is 0. So let me give you an example over here. So we have a closed loop. The loop has to be closed, remember. It has to be a closed circuit. An open circuit will not work. Okay, Kirchoff's voltage law is not applicable in an open circuit, remember. It has to be a closed circuit. These words are very important. Okay, so we have a circuit in which we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've shown it. I have 5 resistors over here, and we have a battery connected to the 5 resistors. Now what you should remember in here is, in order to apply Kirchoff's voltage law, here also we need to stick to a convention. Okay, now to do that, first of all what you do is, you choose your direction of movement, either clockwise or anti-clockwise. So first of all what you do is, listen to me very carefully. First of all what you do is, you either choose a clockwise direction of movement or anti-clockwise direction of movement. That's up to you. You can choose any, okay, either of the two, either clockwise or anti-clockwise. Here let me take clockwise direction of motion. All right, so first thing is fulfilled. These are only the conditions. If you are to write the statement, this is the statement, remember. Okay, and these are only for your understanding that I've written over here. So we are done with this. We have chosen clockwise direction of movement. Then you see if potential difference across resistors or battery in your direction of movement, whether the potential difference is increasing or decreasing. Now you have to be very careful with this. See, how do you understand whether potential difference in your direction of movement is increasing or decreasing? How do you know that? Okay, see, we will deal with one resistor at a time, one component at a time. Okay, so let us first start with this. We are choosing this direction of movement, clockwise direction of movement, okay, around the loop, closed loop. So clockwise direction of movement, and we first encounter this resistor R1. Now we are moving in this direction. And we see current is flowing in the same direction here. Current is also flowing in the same direction. But we know current always flows from a higher potential to a lower potential. So this point, so to say, is a higher potential than this point, the other end of the resistor. Okay, so what we see is we are moving from a higher potential. Our direction, we had taken clockwise direction of movement, don't forget. So our direction, the direction that we've chosen, okay, so to say, we are moving in a direction from higher potential to a lower potential. So across this resistor, we are moving in a direction in which potential is decreasing. Okay, so mind you, whenever you see that potential is decreasing, potential decreases, in that case you take the potential difference to be negative. Okay, whereas if you see potential increasing, then you take the potential difference to be positive. Okay, some books and some other some people they follow the other convention. Okay, in which case potential difference decreases, then they take it to be positive. Potential difference increases, they take it to be negative. Okay, you can choose any of the convention, I'm telling you. Okay, but I suggest you stick to one convention. Okay, I suggest you, it's better, I think it'll be better if you follow this convention. Okay, potential increases means, so to say, you're going higher. Potential increases means higher, so therefore that is positive. Higher means positive. Potential decreases means you're going lower, towards the lower side, so therefore that's negative. I think if you stick to this convention, okay, I think it'll help you. All right, so I suggest you to stick to this convention over here. So we see when we come across resistor R1, the potential difference across R1 is we are moving from a direction from higher to lower potential. So therefore potential difference across R1, see, current flowing is I, the resistance of R1, resistance of the resistor is R1. So therefore potential difference across this resistor, the first resistor, will be IR1. Okay, from Ohm's law. Okay, so in fact this will be minus IR1 since we are moving from higher to lower potential. So we are done with this. Then after we encounter resistor R2. So we are moving in this direction, clockwise direction, upward direction over here. So we see current is also flowing in the same direction. This current I is also flowing in the same direction. So here also we are moving from higher potential to lower potential, because current always flows from higher potential to lower potential. So potential difference across R2 will also be negative minus IR2. Likewise, resistor R3, the current flowing still is I. Okay, so we are moving in the clockwise direction. We see we are again moving from higher potential to lower potential. So potential difference across R3 will also be minus IR3. Then after we come across R4, the same story, we are moving in the same direction. Okay, we again see we are moving from higher potential to lower potential. So this is minus IR4. And finally, resistor R5, the potential difference across R5, we are moving in this direction since we've taken clockwise direction of movement. So we are moving again from higher potential to lower potential. So this is minus IR5. Okay, then finally we land up at this battery or this cell. So clockwise direction of movement, so we are moving this way. Now when you come across this battery, we see that since we've taken clockwise direction of movement, so we are moving from the negative plate to the positive plate. This is what you need to take care in case of the battery. So we are moving from the negative potential to the positive potential, or negative terminal to the positive terminal. Okay, so therefore since we are moving from negative to positive, so therefore here our potential is increasing. We are moving from lower potential to higher potential. So therefore if E is the EMF of this battery, so the potential difference across the battery is taken to be positive plus E. Okay, so this is the algebraic sum. This is the algebraic sum of the potential difference in a closed loop. The algebraic sum of the potential difference in a closed loop is this. Okay, so Kirchoff's voltage law tells us that the algebraic sum of the potential difference around a closed loop is 0. So since this is the algebraic sum, so Kirchoff's voltage law tells us that the algebraic sum is 0. Okay, so that is exactly what I've done over here. Minus IR1. Okay, so since I have taken clockwise direction of movement, so the same thing, minus IR1, minus IR2, minus IR3, minus IR4, minus IR5 plus E is equal to 0, which can also be written yeah, this very equation can also be written this way. I have taken all the negative things to the right hand side, also E. So this is IR1 plus IR2 plus IR3 plus IR4 plus IR5 minus E is equal to 0. Okay, mind you, if you take the other convention, potential decreases, you take it to be positive. Potential increases, you take it to be negative. in that case also you land up exactly at the very same equation. It'll give you the same equation, okay, but it might confuse you. The conventions might confuse you, so stick to this. This is the convention. I have seen people getting confused a lot of time regarding this Kirchoff's voltage law. Okay, so stick to this. I suggest you stick to this. Potential difference decreases, you're going on the lower side, so that's negative. Potential difference increases, you're going to the upper side, so that is positive. Okay, in the next video I'll show you 1 or 2 numericals, okay, based on Kirchoff's voltage law, so that might give you, a better idea. All right, so this is it. This is about Kirchoff's laws, okay, Kirchoff's current law, Kirchoff's voltage law. Sometimes you get 1 mark question, remember, on what conservation principle it's based. KVL is based on conservation of energy, KCL is based on conservation of charge. All right, so this much for this video. Stay safe and take care. Thank you.